I try to practice, and I believe in the idea of good luck, bad luck, who knows. Perhaps you've heard that Zen story. The Alan Watts version is very short and very beautiful. There was a farmer, and he lived way long ago in a small plot of land in China, and one of his horses ran away. And all of his neighbors, they visited him, and they said, "Oh, my farmer, what bad luck you have." And he said, "Maybe." Well, the very next day, his son went out and was looking for the horse, and he ended up finding not just their lost horse, but a whole pack of wild ones, and they brought them all back to the farm. And all the neighbors were congratulating the farmer, and they said, "Oh my, what good luck you have!" And he says, "Maybe." The very next day, the son is trying to tame one of the wild bucks when he is thrown from the horse and breaks his leg. And back then, medicine was not so great, so all the neighbors were lamenting his bad luck. And he said, "Maybe." It was the very next day when the army came to town to take away each and every able-bodied young man. And when they came to the farmer's son, they decided he was not healthy enough to join the army. So, of course, all the neighbors went and threw a big party for the farmer and his son, and they said, "What good luck you have." And he said, "Maybe." And the idea is that you never know what luck really is going to happen after a certain event. You might think something brings you good luck, but it's really hard to say. And so I try to ascribe to that, but in reality, it can be very difficult to practice. But thinking back, I know that that is true. My stepmom and I did not have a very good relationship. I seriously am bad luck. I don't know. No, wait, maybe. So my stepmom and I did not have the best of luck. Together, we didn't have a good relationship. It was not very healthy. I think I reminded her way too much of my mother, and I don't have a lot of positive memories associated with her. But there was a date when I was in my pre-teens, early teen years, and we were going to a family holiday, family get-together at my grandma's house in Cuyahoga Falls. And we'd been there 1,000 times before. I knew that basement like the back of my hand. And of course, as a preteen, you're still not quite old enough to be a part of the adult conversation. So they send all the children downstairs, and you have to find some way to occupy your time with the other ankle biters. So we found the board games, had to dust them off. And at the very bottom of the pile, good old Twister. So we knocked out, exactly, we had knocked that out. We put out the whole mat. We started an amazing game of Twister. We were going left foot to green and right hand to blue and everything you can imagine. Well, at some point, my cousin is spinning and I am on the board. And she spins it to right hand red. And my right hand is currently situated on almost the opposite of red. So I know I'm going to have to do some crazy maneuver to get up and over to the red. So I'm gearing myself up, psyching myself up. I'm like, all right, I got this. I can do this. I'm a contortionist. 1, 2, 3. I jump up, and then I fall face down. What I didn't realize was on the way down, for some reason, whoever set up this Twister board had set it right near the support beam in my grandmother's basement. So when I went up, I had banged my head and then went down face flat. So then we were all in a giant pile. It was me on top of my cousins, and finally we're laughing. We all stand up, and I notice on my cousin's arm is this just horrific looking injury. I'm like, "Oh, Jillian, there's blood all over your arm." She's like, "Oh, nothing hurts?" She's like feeling it. She's like, "Yeah, I don't think this blood is mine." So she looks to her sister, "Stephanie, did you get hurt? Is something wrong?" Stephanie's like, "Not me." And then my other cousin is around back of my head, and their eyes are wide and their face is or bright white, just staring at me. And they're like, Kyle, I think it's you. And so I do the normal, I've done this. I'd cracked my head open 2 times previously, so I feel back there. Oh, yep, feels all nice and wet. And I put it to my hand. I'm like, what do you know? I cracked open my head. And I start laughing hysterically because that was my response as a 12-year-old who just cracked open his head for the 3rd time. Well, at this point, I must be laughing enough to have caused some commotion. So my parents and my aunt and uncle, they all come down, they see what's the matter, and as luck would have it, both my father and my stepmother are paramedics/nurses, and so they get to work, and they start making sure that I've, got this nice and compressed, and that they clean the wound, and they take me to the hospital, and they sit with me for the rest of the night until at last my mom comes. But I remember this because it was one of the first times where I really felt that Kim, my stepmother, cared for me. And she showed in that moment, it didn't matter how much maybe I reminded her of my mother, that she still had that semblance of love to go, okay, you are bleeding, you are injured, I need to take care of you because you are a human, you are my stepson. And she really did show me love. And so thinking back, in that moment I would have been like, wow, what bad luck to have another cracked open head. Not that I have 3 heads, but you know what I mean. But as it turns out, it really was a moment of good luck because I was able to see that this person who I really thought despised me and hated me to my very core did have some semblance of love for me in her heart. And to me, happiness is memories.